about that time once again? Second time on a Thursday. Wrestling Rants, baby! Ready to go for Retrospective on a Thursday, Throwback Thursday time, where we look back at this day in wrestling. Today's date is July 6th, and a lot to cover on this edition of Rantrospective. First and foremost, let's talk about the birthdays on this day in wrestling. There was a couple of them. Nothing of huge significance, but Vince McMahon's father, Vincent James McMahon, was born in 1914. He has passed away a long time ago. Also, a guy from the past that you don't hear of anymore in the world of wrestling, Lars Sullivan, was born on this day in 1988. Okay, without any further ado, let's get into this day in wrestling, starting with 1985. Very rare house show Intercontinental Championship change in the WWF. Tito Santana beat Greg the Hammer Valentine in Baltimore, Maryland at a WWF house show in a steel cage. What makes this significant was this was the first time the Intercontinental Championship changed hands inside of a steel cage. So there you go, a little history lesson for you all in 1985. Also on this same day in 1985, on the competition side, the first ever Great American Bash by the NWA occurred, and these were the top matches on the card. There was a unification tag championship match between NWA champions and the AWA World Tag Team Champions. This was the Russian team of Crusher Khrushchev, who was Demolition Smash, Gary Darso, if you don't remember, and Ivan Koloff, going to a double disqualification with the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. So that means, obviously, that these titles were not unified, to no shock of anyone. Also, for the United States Championship, Magnum TA defeated Kamala by disqualification. Ric Flair went over Nikita Koloff for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And then in another cage match, Dusty Rhodes went over Tully Blanchard in the cage. So it was a very famous match for the television championship. As part of the stipulations, Tully Blanchard's ballet baby doll had to spend 30 days with Dusty Rhodes. That inadvertently turned her baby face, where she joined Dusty Rhodes on the regular, as well as Magnum TA. So, pretty significant thing there. Very ironic that the Great American Bash was kind of headlined by a major cage match, and then on that same day, WWF countered with their own cage match and title switch on their house show in Baltimore. Let's fast forward all the way to 1997, and one of the best pay-per-views for the WWF at the time. In 1997, this was the day that Canadian Stampede in Your House happened in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, on the Calgary Saddle Dome. And what a pay-per-view this was, folks. If you haven't seen this show, please do yourself a favor. Look it up on Peacock. It's well worth your look. Some significant matches here. Both the great Sasuke and Taka Michinoku made their debut in the WWF on this pay-per-view. Sasuke defeated Michinoku in a very, very good match. Also, The Undertaker went over Vader for the WWE Championship. And then the main event was a wild, heat-filled brawl of a match between the Hart Foundation and a 10-man tag over Team USA. Team USA consisted of Stone Cold, Ken Shamrock, Goldust, and the Road Warriors Legion of Doom. What a pay-per-view that was, no doubt. And that actually was rated by the Wrestling Observer as the best pay-per-view of 1997. 1998, once again, a very significant day in pro wrestling. This was the day that 41,000 people jam-packed the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia for the first time as part of WCW Monday Nitro, and that big main event. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Goldberg going over Hollywood Hulk Hogan to finally win that WCW championship and keep the streak alive, at least till the end of the year, until Kevin Nash got his mitts in creative and decided to be the guy to beat Goldberg. What an asshole looking back. Oh my God. I'm not the biggest Goldberg fan, but that was the wrong move in hindsight. Having Goldberg lose at Starrcade at the end of this year after the huge response and the huge gate they got at the Georgia Dome for this match. Let's fast forward all the way to 2009 and a SmackDown taping in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which I believe Dynamite was just in Winnipeg last night. How ironic. And the team of Billy Kidman and Paul London won the WWE Tag Championships from the Dudley Boys on this day. Moving all the way also in 2007, we got to back up a little bit here. OVW in Louisville, Kentucky had an interesting match looking back. This was Cody Rhodes over Shawn Spears to win the television title. Also in 2008, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla put on their Life During Wartime event at the Reseda American Legion. I've been there a handful of times back in the day, and that was one unique venue to watch pro wrestling, let me tell you. The team of Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black, now known as Seth Rollins, of course, won the PWG Tag Championships from El Generico, Sami Zayn, and Roderick Strong. Also, in a cage match, and I don't know how the fuck they did a cage match in this small-ass, low-ceiling Reseda American Legion, but Chris Hero won over the Human Tornado to win the PWG Championship. One last look back, 2019, MLW presented Kings of Coliseum from Cicero Stadium in Chicago. Just a heads up on that note, I will be going back to Cicero Stadium in about 3 weeks' time for another double night Impact taping event, which will be the next Wrestling Rants road trip. So be looking for more Impact content at the end of this month. Anyhow, we had two major title changes on this event. Jacob Fatu won over Filthy Tom Lawler to win the MLW Championship. And then the Tag Championship changed hands here as the Dynasty, the team of MJF and Richard Holiday, defeated the Hart Foundation, the team of Brian Pillman Jr. and the very infamous Teddy Hart in a ladder match for the Tag Championships. And that really covers everything this day in wrestling, July 6th, as part of Rantrospective. And be on the lookout tomorrow. We got Versus coming back. Ring of Honor versus Impact, as we always do on Fridays. And like I said in the previous rant, I am heavily considering doing another Versus rant this week, where we're going to take a look at Versus SmackDown from Madison Square Garden this week against Collision, I believe from Regina, Saskatchewan, with that CM Punk Samoa Joe main event. And that's it for now on Wrestling Rants. Come on back tomorrow. Like I said, we will be doing, once again, Impact versus Ring of Honor as part of Versus. See you tomorrow for some more Wrestling Rants. Bye!